With waking dread.
That's good. That's good. Boy, AMC. You know, I guess Glenn wasn't enough. I guess Glenn was not enough. They really wanted to make people mad with this one. Well, they succeeded if that was their goal.
Did they really make people mad?
Yes. I'll get into that later, but let's review the episode. How It's Gotta Be. I guess that's the showrunner's mentality towards fans. Hey, this is just how it's gotta be. Sorry.
Was that the name of the episode?
Yeah, how it's gotta.
Listen,
I think there's a bit of double meaning there.
Get straight to the point.
So, this episode pretty much opens up with the Saviors attacking Alexandria, or going to Alexandria, and Negan, not only Alexandria, by the way, they cut off the hilltop trying to go to, I don't know exactly how this happened. I guess the hilltop was on their way to the sanctuary to attack, and the Saviors cut them off by coming from behind. Don't ask me how that works, but that's how it happened. With cars that can only travel on the one road that seems to be on the show. And also the kingdom was also attacked by the Saviors. Negan himself goes to Alexandria. I want to say the one guy who is dealing with the kingdom, the guy with like the longer hair in the back but like balding on the top. And then Anthony confronted Maggie and the Hilltoppers. Because why not? The Hilltoppers. So this is a problem because at the end of the previous episode, all you know is that Eugene is trying to figure out how to get the Saviors out of their predicament, how to get them out of the sanctuary that they were trapped in due to the walkers. So they're trying to figure that out. Yet at the beginning of this episode, they're out. And they're causing problems. By the way, this was an hour and a half long an hour and a half long episode. They had plenty of time to show or tell you how they get out. They don't. I'm going to tell you now, that's one of my biggest that was my biggest hang up watching this. Until the very end of the episode, I was all like, how did the Saviors get out? And the only thing that you get, the only hint that they give you is Maggie asks Anthony, how'd you guys get out? And he goes like, Eugene, he's something else. So Eugene thought, but how? It's kind of important to know how, because this whole half season has been, it started off episode 1 with Rick and everyone attacking the sanctuary and managing to block it off with walkers. And then the rest of these episodes have all been dealing with that aftermath. So it's kind of a big deal. It's been like the focal point of 8 episodes or 7 episodes. And with the 8th one, you just kind of sweep it under the rug? No, I need more. I need more than that. I think they definitely missed a very cool opportunity to show. Please just show me how they get out. I don't care what you do. I don't care if they blast a hole in the side of the wall that isn't up against the walkers or something, or if they go down with bed sheets tied together. I don't care. Just give me something. Because they're all out of there. All of them. And they're in full force. So, Anthony kills a guy from Hilltop that no one even knew his name until, a couple minutes before he was killed. And it was really confusing, so at first you thought maybe he killed Jesus, but no. He just killed some random guy. I think his name was Nick or something like that. It didn't make us worry about anybody. I was worried for a minute about Jerry because Jerry had been taken captive. Speaking of that, the kingdom, they tried to go in and get Ezekiel, and he went all like sneaky and just avoided capture until the end of the episode. And it was weird too, because while he was cornered, Morgan is on the other side of the fence of the area where Ezekiel's cornered, and he just watches it happen, but he doesn't do anything. You think like, okay, Morgan's like gonna snipe these guys or something. Nope. He just watches it happen. We also have, of course, the episode also showed us Rick with the, the last episode ended with Rick leading the Junkers to Sanctuary to find it free of walkers, and, him freaking out. Rick, oddly enough, is not in this episode a whole lot. You see a flashback of him talking with his son and about basically how Karl is kind of telling him how there has to be a better way of than just killing everybody. And we know that it seems like this definitely happened before episode 1 of the season began. But it does show like a difference of maturity even between Karl and Rick. Like Karl seems to be more mature, at least when it comes to that. And who knows, maybe that's why Rick was very much for the idea of only Negan needs to die. Everyone else can live. So, yeah, not a whole lot of Rick in this episode. A lot of Karl. Karl openly confronts Negan at one point. He goes to the top of the gate in Alexandria and basically tells him it doesn't have to be like this, doesn't have to be that way. I want to say that Negan at one point, or Negan was basically telling the people of Alexandria that, hey, I'm going to kill Rick, and then you're all going to tell me you're sorry, and the person whose apology sucks the most is going to die. So Karl basically confronts Negan about it and says, you don't have to involve them, kill me if that's what's going to, end this and save these people. And it seems to get to Negan for a moment. But then, of course, it just appears that Karl was stalling to get the Alexandrians into the sewer system. And that was nice. That is something that they kind of, through other times that we saw Karl this season, is we saw him kind of go in through the sewer in and out of Alexandria without being detected, because he is supposed to be still a kid, even though Chandler Riggs is 18, I think now. So yeah, he's kind of been sneaking around, and so he uses that to get people, away from Alexandria. And Negan just tears the place apart. They blow up the houses. They blow everything. Alexandria's, I think, for all intents and purposes, Alexandria is done and gone. So that happens. In the kingdom, I want to say that whatever the Savior's guy's name is, who usually deals with the kingdom, he tells them that they're going to be all taken to the sanctuary, and they're basically going to be trading places with the Saviors. Like, they're going to get the sanctuary that's all like been bombed up, and now is probably filled with walkers thanks to Daryl. And yeah, the Saviors are going to live there now because it's not all bombed. And so that's their offer. And I think at one point, I'm kind of fuzzy on the details, but they did eventually just rebel. They were just like, no, we're not going to do this. And they started fighting. To moderate success, it seemed. Now, with the Hilltop, it was basically just that motorcade with Anthony pulling up with his own motorcade. And they tell the Hilltop people, like, basically, you guys are fine because we need you to produce. So you're the only ones out of the three groups that we're not really going to bother. We're just going to just turn yourself around, go back. You don't have to worry about anything. And Maggie's concerning whether or not to do that. So the big thing that happens towards the end of the episode, Rick goes back to Alexandria. He's not aware that Karl had this plan to evacuate Alexandria. So he just goes back to his house where Negan's waiting. And they actually have a really, really good fight. Negan kind of against Rick he kind of gets a beating from Rick. I mean, they both get their lickings in, but that's the first time that you really see Negan, have someone go toe-to-toe with him and not just completely get obliterated by him. Just because due to his intimidation. So Rick eventually gets thrown out of a window. He uses that opportunity to escape and goes into the sewer. Michonne actually goes back to get him, brings him down to the sewer, brings him to where everyone's okay. And in the last, I want to say 2 minutes of the episode, we find out that Karl was bitten by a walker in the previous episode. And so it happened a while ago, and it's like on his stomach, so it's not like in a place that could have been cut off anyway. And I heard someone say that in a review, I can't remember, I don't remember exactly which review it was, but someone actually said that, they really hinted at this really well. No, they didn't. They did not. There was no hinting. If anything, Karl has been absent for most of this half season. He's been hanging out with that one guy in the woods, and like I was kind of wondering, like, okay, where is this gonna go? What's gonna go on with this? Like, I did not expect it to end with him getting bit by a walker. And of course, that's also why he was being so brave with Negan. Like, he's gonna die anyway, so might as well use his life for something. And the episode doesn't really leave you with much after that. Just, he reveals it to Rick and Michonne at the same time and just tells them that it happened when he was helping that one guy with the walkers. And on The Talking Dead, Scott Gimple was on the show, and he did confirm that, once you're bit, you're bit. There's no alternative. There's no way to really survive that, especially the way that Karl was bit. Like, he all but guaranteed that Karl was going to die in the mid-season premiere in February. The internet has exploded. Walking Dead fans are not happy with this change. Since the episode has aired, there have been people who have petitioned to have the showrunner fired. I believe that might be Scott Gimple. I'm not sure. Yeah. People are serious about this. It's kind of it's a big deal, not just because Karl, I mean, he's one of the original characters, yes. But at the same time, like his character, and I know that the comic books, like there's been characters that have lived that have been killed off well, a long time ago. They just seem to do that. They don't kill off characters that are still alive, because Karl we're like 50 issues past what's happening now in the show, in the comic. They're very far past this point, and Karl's alive and well. There's a little bit of controversy surrounding this aside from the fans. I saw some report that stated that there was a deleted Facebook post from, I want to say, Chandler Riggs' father, and how they met with Scott Gimple pretty recently, and he let them know that he had at least 3 more seasons/years left on the show. So a lot of people who heard that report think that maybe he got fired. I mean, when you're on a show about zombies, it's not hard to get rid of you, to write you out. But it's just weird that he's one of the original characters. He made it clear on Twitter, I believe Chandler Riggs said that this was not his decision. He wanted to keep doing Walking Dead. So, yeah, this is kind of like one of those first things, the first time where we kind of have a bit of a controversy brewing here, and I don't know how it's going to affect, number one, the viewership of Walking Dead. I think it's actually going to hurt it. I think what might have happened is AMC may have underestimated just how popular a character Karl was. And this may be, almost just as bad as like killing off Daryl or Michonne. Like, those are the only 2 other characters I can really think of. And then, of course, Rick is Rick. Rick's not going to die. He's not going to go anywhere. I'll be very shocked if they kill off Rick. So yeah, what are your thoughts on that? I know you haven't been watching this season at all, but based on what I've told you, what do you think's going to happen as far as the show's future?
I'm kind of along with them. I didn't think Karl was that liked by people. He's done some things in the most recent seasons that have made him a bit more likable. I remember back in season season 4 and 5, maybe it was 4 and 3. I kind of wanted him to be dead. He's just a whiny little punk who just.
He kind of had his moment just like Rick did, where it's just like, okay, I'm tired of this character being this way.
Me and a buddy in school were just like, yeah, I'd be fine if they killed him. I don't like him.
But I think you're right, though. I think in recent seasons he has definitely become a better character.
He's not some whiny kid who's like, I'm gonna be the leader. My dad can't make any decisions anymore. I'm the leader.
I could kill my dad right now.
I'm gonna shoot him right in the forehead. And he's like, no, you've been bitten. You're dead. How's that for leading the group?
And I also feel like that if you've been alive this long and you're like a walker fighter, you know how not to get bit. I just kind of feel like that's a lame thing to do. It was definitely unexpected, but at the same time, it's a bit implausible. So yeah, AMC, you might have a bit of an issue on your hands. I don't think Scott Gimble's going anywhere, but I don't know that this is going to help their ratings in the least. I think the thing with Glenn is still too fresh. that only happened a season and a half ago, and now you're killing off another original cast member. That's not going to sit well